What kind of letters did you use to write?
What do you mean?
Like like the way it was written, it wasn't English.
This is just shorthand. Yeah, this is English, but it's shorthand.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like my creation. I mean, I learned how to do it, but then you just start to make your own style, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
shorthand.
that is very creative. I remember when I was a kid.
She was at a loss for words. You saw her? She was like, oh, that was
Yes. You know what it reminded me of? You know what it reminded me of? When I was growing up, I remember, you know Sissy, right? My cousin. Her mother and my mother had a secret language. They had a secret language that they used to speak around us and we didn't understand. They still do, but it's a make. They made up that language when they were like little kids, but they can have a whole conversations and talk to each other in a whole conversation. But it's a language that they made up. So it's interesting. And language is just something that we made up, and then enough people speaks it, and it just becomes like something valid. But it's like we say, blah 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 blah. Everything is just blah blah. Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to Rumi, when it comes to poetry, it used to be my way of expressing myself as a kid, just like Sissy did.
Why was that your way as a kid to express? You know, why did you enjoy that way better than the rest?
It was more of I didn't have to speak. I can just write it down, you know, and I can make it like, let's say like if I'm feeling something and I want to talk to someone and I want to tell them how I feel, it becomes like a long story. But if I just sit with myself and I can express whatever I feel in like 3 lines. So it was easier for me to express myself in a depth, but then I realized, life is not, people are not like me. They don't go deep. So sometimes like even if I write like 3 paragraphs of something deep that would explain my whole life, someone would not get it, you know? But I know what it is. And someone that understands that will get it. So it's just like less explanations.
So you know what it is. So would you say that it was more for you than it was for
Hmm.
other people?
It was never for other people. It was just for me. Even though I'm calling it like something that I'm expressing, like it just needs to come out. I was just telling my friend yesterday that I really like to just clear everything out from inside. So words and emotions and things that I feel like they need to be on the paper and not inside me. Yeah, I need to get rid of them.
What do the words do when they're inside you and they're not on the paper? You
It
know?
makes you feel whatever they are. You go around with that feeling. If you're feeling like hurt or if you're feeling like, something, you will still walk around with that feeling unless you release it. So through poetry, I can really release things. Just like you would release whatever you eat through your digestive system, like through your body. It's the same way. Like everything I put in my head needs to also be digested and then released. I can't keep everything.
So your poetry is like a form of like purging. You're
Mm-hmm.
purging.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
That's how
as
they should be used.
say again.
That's how they should be used, I said.
Okay, so as all these, these things are emerging, putting poetry on the page is purging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm. You know
Otherwise,
why?
you'll feel, okay, go ahead.
No, I said, you know what? Because if I just write, let's say like I write something on my journal and I'm just expressing the day, whatever that happened, blah, blah, blah. It's the form of like a real little release, like, okay, just put it there. But when I get into poetry, it's more like on to the depth. I'm going inside and pulling stuff because I need I need to use some certain words to describe that depth. And that means like I'm actually diving within myself. I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to pull it out of me. and then put it on a paper. So my journal and my poetry are two different things. One is like, just a brief release, and one is like more like pulling.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, how descriptive, How descriptive. You're really just bringing us into your world with these words. They do say that words create worlds,
Hmm.
So you're saying with your journal, you're just like, just kind of like a quick little release, a quick little
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
But with the poetry, you're like pulling, like
Hmm.
pulling this stuff out of you. You're really just churning and just really getting it, like squeezing out the juice,
Exactly. So,
extracting. Okay.
so it don't matter if anybody reads it or not. It's out of me, you know. It's released. But as I have seen, I see people like, use poetry as an art, like to get some type of validation, to get something like, oh, well done, oh, this is good, or this, whatever. For me, it's more like, pulling out things. And I think it's just because of the way I have learned how to write them. The person that taught me was using poetry as sense of like relief. She was bullied every day in school. Like the whole town used to bully her, and she would just sit in her room and just write, write, and write. So it was her way of coping with it. So I think I've learned that way too.
Wow, Nabiha, you know what you reminded me of?
Hmm.
You gave me a picture just now as you were saying, I got to get it out of me. Just get it out of me. Like you don't want it in you, you just want it out.
Hmm.
There was a movie, speaking of your poetry, the movie was called Prometheus. You ever seen this movie called Prometheus?
No.
I believe it was a movie called Prometheus, and it was based off of the Alien series. And
Hmm.
these people, the humans, right? We go on adventures, we go on journeys, and we have to be learning and constantly expanding. And they go to this faraway place where they really have no business being, right?
Hmm.
And then they start seeing certain things, and then people start getting infected. These movies, right?
Hmm.
And the collective starts getting infected with these aliens, and they're harboring the aliens inside of their bodies,
Hmm.
and the alien has to come out, right? It goes in, but it has to come out somehow. So one of the ladies got infected in the crew,
Hmm.
and as soon as she realized that she was contaminated, she ran to one of the rooms inside of the spaceship. She locked herself inside of the room. She took one of the mechanical robot machines and she started performing laser surgery on her own body.
Hmm.
She did
Hmm.
like a whole laser surgery to get this organism out of her body. She had to get it out, one way or another. It was coming
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
So it was either going to come out forcefully, which would result in her
Hmm.
death, or she was going to do it intentionally and get it out before,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rest. So
Yeah.
that was an intense scene. I hadn't seen many scenes like that before, but what you said, it described that scene to me in my mind. I could see you just getting out these words, getting out these feelings, getting out these emotions before they do something destructive.
Hmm.
You're using it in a way that's more constructive and productive, you know?
On the Matrix movie, Neo is also having that thing pulling out of him, right? And he had something inside of his, what is it called, navel? Um, Neo on the Matrix movie. Yeah. So it's the same thing, but how I see this planet or everyday's reality is full of consumption. Maybe some of us are just aware of, the food consumption and stuff like that because it's a physical thing that you're putting into your mouth. It's logical to everybody. But nobody's thinking deeper that everything is actually consumption. What you see with your eyes and what you hear with your ears are also consumption, right? So you could constantly consuming something, and everything you consume makes you who you are. Like every act that you do, whatever, even how you move your body, however you do it, is because of content that you just picked up from outside. So instead of just becoming somebody or becoming like whatever that this reality is offering, you have to check yourself by, releasing these things. Not only food, but, whatever information, maybe you're not aware of like what you read today, what you've seen, but have an intention of pulling things out of yourself instead of being consumed.
I agree. Can we talk about checking ourselves? you know, checking ourselves, like the way that we check our phones, we should check ourselves. So
Hmm.
I love what you said earlier, Nabiha, and I really just want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate you, you know, because you're doing something that many people don't do. And you're willing to not only take a leap of faith, but just willing to take a break, you know, to see what more might be at stake. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
To allow yourself to get out of the race that every one of us face, you know, that we don't allow
Them.
ourselves to embrace, you know. So thank you just for spreading that message and letting people know that, yeah, to get back in tune with ourselves. You
Yeah.
know, what inspired you? What inspired you to do that?
Um, I started using social media a lot since 2019. Before that, I didn't care for social media so much. So just, just being absent. I've been absent since 2019, I feel like. I'm a very in my phone. I'm like in my devices. I don't see what's going on. And it's just like, I just want to take a break. I want to breathe. I just want to go into, like, I want to see people. I want to see where I'm walking. You know, I want to see all of that. And it's just, everybody's like this. No matter where you go, it's just like this. And when I took a break, and when I didn't used to use social media, everyone I see, they were just doing that. And it's like you live in the alien, like in a world where everybody's like alien. Really, they're looking for, waiting for aliens, but we are the aliens. Like everybody's like in their devices. The only thing that's missing, Jerome, is like taking this consciousness into those phones or into those little avatars, which I think we're actually already doing. Like people's consciousness is already in there. Some people's body, like the whole body is folded because they folded with their phone, you know, and they walk like that. They can't stand straight. It's just like our body is. I don't know, but this is not okay. This is not okay. We should check ourselves and know, like, okay, hey, I need a break from this. When was the last time I actually took a little breath? And when was the last time I just sat somewhere in the park for hours without checking the phone? We're missing out so much. And this is not going to stop. It's just going to continue and continue and continue. And like I said, we will go into those avatars. Everybody will be plugged into a machine, because what is it that you need for the body? If they give the body the necessary nutrition for it to just stay alive, and your whole consciousness is in your phone, which it already is, what do we have? Matrix. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were in those pods. You know,
Yeah.
they were used as batteries for electricity for the sentinels. You know, the machines, they were hooked up to the machines, jacked into the matrix in a simulation of their own creation. You know,
What's the difference between this and
yeah.
that?
So there's many parallels. You know, so it's a great message that you're talking about here. You know,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that you walk your talk. You don't just talk it, but you're willing to walk it as well.
Yeah. So I will take a free from this week. When I do my last live on Friday, I will take at least 2 weeks off. And then if I feel like coming back to Instagram or whatever, I will. But yeah, I need that break.
Yeah, a lot of the times when you do come back, you realize that nothing changed.
Yeah.
You know, nothing changed. You might have changed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but
Yeah.
everything else is the same. You know, it's like we fear of missing out. They call it FOMO. There's a saying called FOMO,
Yeah. I'm
right?
missing out.
The fear of missing out. But
I don't
there's,
have that fear.
go ahead.
I don't have that fear. No, I said I don't have that fear. That's all I said. I interrupted you. You were talking, but I always do.
Yeah, go ahead. You don't have that fear?
No, I don't have that fear of missing out on anything. There's nothing to miss out. There's nothing to miss out on. I never believe there's anything to miss out. I've heard those words like, "Oh, why don't you take a nap? Like you're missing out on something." I don't miss out on anything because I create whatever that I'm experiencing anyway. So no matter, yeah, what is it to miss out? I'm the one that's creating it anyway. So I don't believe in missing out anything. But definitely, I believe that if I change, I will come back to the old habits with a new view, with the new eyes, with the new perspective, and yeah, people will still be themselves. Maybe it's changed, maybe it's not, I don't know. Yeah.
Beautiful. To see the world with new eyes. You know,
Hmm.
is
Like
it? Hmm.
I
Like
used to
what?
take a lot of bus. I used to take a lot of buses and public traffic. I don't like driving so much, just because of I want to see this reality. I want to see people in it. When you're in your car driving around, you don't see people like that. It's just like I think cars are also part of the separation, instead of like people getting on the buses and trains and stuff like that, so you can interact with different humans, people with different mindset, people that are walking out of different houses. Every house has its own story, right? So when I'm on public traffic, I feel like I see the world more broader aspect than when I'm just in my car and getting to destinations just as I please. Just like, what I was talking about the radio the other day. People have Spotify, they pick and choose their songs depending on the traumas, so you're still circling around with that trauma. Instead of having a radio that just plays and then there's some commercials and this, that patient is gone, right? So it's the same thing with being in public. So I would like to, when I'm taking this break, I will be on public traffic. I will interact with more people in the parks, and it will be just older people. I know that because when I didn't used to use social media, it was only 70 plus that would have that interaction with me on the park. So some places, everybody else is here. Yeah.
Yeah, Masala chat flying is the best, but need to change matrix codes. Peace, peace. No, I agree with you. And one of the things that I love as well, and I know that you love this, is being able to go to that park and seeing people just interacting with themselves, with nature. Like we saw this guy that was, didn't you say he was doing qigong on the tree?
Oh, yeah.
There was like a tree that was huge, right? And it
Hmm.
was in the area,
Hmm.
and he was just sitting on top of the tree,
I
like
did
chilling.
that before. Yeah, I
Huh?
did that before too. We should see more people like that. Chilling on the trees and just like when you're sitting on a tree, I feel like you're one with that tree. It's that energy of the tree. It's like you're interacting with that tree. The tree doesn't have to speak English. You you are on that tree, and that tree's talking to you.
And remind me again, Nabiha, because you said something that really hit me. It hit me in a place because you said, I want to go back to who I was before. And I was telling you, well, she never left. She's still there. You were like, well, I need to pay her more attention. So, who is the Nabiha that you feel you were before?
The attentive one, the alert one, the one that was there, present in the reality. Even though we say like, oh, sit with yourself in meditation and be present and this and that. It's like you're being present in another dimension, which is in your mind. But then again, we can't neglect the reality. So we have to be present in this reality as well. People are actually drifting away from this reality and from their, natural essence. So it's just like, where are we going? So that's what I'm saying. Like, for me to go back to me is like before I was addicted to technology. Is an addiction, you know. So before I was addicted to this technology, I would be doing my gardening more. I'll be more in nature. I will be doing more like the body workouts. I'll be more focused on myself and everything around me. But now it's just like, we just lost in it. Just like food is an addiction. People don't know that food is an addiction, right? Technology is an addiction. And it's coming close to food, like because of food is like an addiction that's accepted. People don't know. Like you told me the other day, I still think about that, Jerome. 4 hours, people cannot stay away from not eating. Just for 4 hours? Like, and you don't see that as an addiction? Your phone, how long can you stay away from it? I put a timer on every 30 minutes on Instagram, but sometimes I skip that because I'm an addict. People have to admit to that they're addict to the technology. So once you become aware of your addiction, you have to do something about it, and it's not going to stop. Just like the food is like in all kind of flavors, all kind of colors and stuff, and it's just going on and on and on and on. Same thing with technology. So if you don't save yourself now, you will just get lost in it. So that one, I want to go back to the me before the addiction.
Wow. Thank you for your just being vulnerable and sharing that, you know? Like just being so open to let it be known. Because there were a lot of times before with my phone, that I would find myself feeling bored. Like I didn't have all this time on my hands to explore more, to read more, to do more, to feel more, to just be more, you know? And I was like, when did I get so bored? Why does it feel like I don't have enough time? Or why does it feel like I have too much time on my hands? Why does it feel like, why do I feel limited? And there were some times where I used to go in, I would log in, and then I would log out. And in the window, the small little moment that I logged out, if I didn't immediately do something in that moment, I was logged back in.
Mm.
And it was like, wait, how did I get here? It took me a while. I think it really, when I started meditating, I started to pinpoint the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
I started to see the moments when I would relapse. There would be a lapse in time, a gap in time where I was not in the moment. And during that moment, I was already in. I was already scrolling. I was already holding my phone again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it got scary. I got scared. I was like, wait, whoa. You know, who is controlling this? You know, is it me? Who's holding this, or is it somewhere? What is this? So when I really started meditating and going within, it allowed me to see and really start to begin to find that distance,
Mm.
you know, so that I could be myself with more consistent, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
with you, where do you feel like you saw the indicators? Was it the phantom vibration that sometimes people feel where they don't even have their phone in their pocket, but there's a vibration? It's like, where
Oh
did that
no.
come from? What was it the indicator for you to say like, okay, enough is enough? You know?
Um. I work a lot with social media, even in the professional setting. I've worked with social media and the usage of social media. I've learned that in school, and I know like what it does psychologically. I know what it does too because of like the intention behind it. If I'm creating some advertisement, if I'm creating something, my intentions are to hunt you, right? So I know everybody that's creating something out there is also like targeting me. So I'm becoming the victim too. So somehow when it comes to these apps, I always have my phone in my hand and I'm on Instagram. I don't use other social media, by the way, just Instagram. And I'm on Instagram and I'm like, why am I here? I wasn't supposed to be here. Like, I'm reading a book and I'm here. It's like, throw away my phone far away so I won't get to it. So I don't even know when I get to it. And it's so tiring. And like, once I get to it, if I just open that, the time just goes away. I'm in it. I get hooked. And so I put things together, instant gram. This is the instant gram. So it's a drug. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm an addict. I need to stop this. So I don't go on YouTube and get stuck in there. I don't watch TVs and get stuck in there. It's just Instagram. Just Instagram. I don't even go on Instagram on, discover page and, scroll or anything. I'm in my own profile. That's even worse. It's like I'm on my own and I'm writing and rearranging things and doing this. And that could take like hours, responding to people. I'm like, oh my God, this is too much. The day's over. I need to interact with people. I need to do my gardening. I need to read. I need to be more creative. I need to find out different things. Because when you're on just social media, you get stuck in one thing, You think you're doing something. Like my writings and this, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. It's just the rest. Yeah, you mentioned the restlessness. Like, what did we used to do? Sorry, that was my reminder. Instagram reminder. Was that not now? What did we used to
That
do?
was the 30-minute reminder. It was telling you get off, and you hit snooze. You just hit it. You said no, no, no,
Not now. Yes. There's a phone
Wow.
cell. There's a phone cell too that came out not long ago. Have you seen it? You lock your phone in there. You can only answer phone calls, but it's a prison for the phone. Mhm. So you set like 8 hours or something like that. You can't touch that phone. You can't go to any of the apps, but you can pick up calls. Hmm. Somebody invented that.
To put your phone in jail, to put it in
Hmm.
prison.
Hmm. You haven't heard that? Phone jail. Yeah. People should put themselves in jail.
You know, Erica Badu, when she would have concerts, she would tell people, you know, put your phone down.
Mm,
You know, like don't bring your phone up in here. Like feel the feel the concert, feel the music, experience this.
I love her.
You know,
Yeah, I would do the same. You have no business in being in your phone, but you have to experience things. You have to see. You have to be alert. It's so ridiculous. What we're doing is not fine, really. Like we can use these devices, but we need to be aware of it. Otherwise, we're lost. And the problem is like we're using our own abilities against ourselves. All of these devices that we're creating on the outside is already within us. But now we're creating something that we should depend on, but it's outside of ourselves. Instead of like activating these abilities from within ourselves, we are creating them on the outside because how can it exist on the outside if it didn't come from inside? It doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like a trick that this is a prison, okay? Everything is designed to distract you from going in and finding yourself. So the more technology we dive into, the more we will lose ourselves. Like I said, we will be just plugged into a stuff. They will come up with digital food. People will be eating food from their phones, like digital. If you can do that, you're not real anymore. Mm-hmm. It's a dangerous game.
you know, it reminds me of like the Spy Kids. You ever seen Spy Kids?
No,
They had
maybe.
different technology back in the day. Spy Kids, like they had watches and stuff for, kids and different gadgetries and tools and things like there was a I think there was like a little pod or a seed or a pellet or something that they would put into a microwave
Mm-hmm.
and they would go beep 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 and in like 2 seconds, boom, it would pop out a burger.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. That's the best fantasy people can think of, like
It
burger.
was a burger, yeah, in like 2 seconds, a burger, like in the
I believe they can do that today. They call it impossible burger today.
so it was all about
Instant. But we're here.
Instagram,
We're here.
instant. Now it's like
Yeah.
you're injecting it into your veins. It's instant.
Hmm. Really.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what we're doing. But again, like that burger, maybe they imitated, maybe they made it into a cartoon, but it's real. What do you think the impossible burger is? It's a lab made meat. Like they put something in there, poop, like something that made in the lab. Okay, we're gonna get like, advanced with that. So it will be just digital, like, hmm I really, the reason why we think we are real is because we attach to this body. We're not actually real. So all this digital thing can feed you, just if you believe in it. Because you believe that food is something that you need and, you live with it, right? So it's just a belief. But I don't think we are real at all. I don't want to get into that, but I don't even think like, because we become whatever we believe. So that means like our belief shapes us all the time. So this body is not, it can be real. This cannot be real if we're always shaping everything with the mind. So, hmm
And just as well, if technology is born of convenience, you know, we're we're using our imagination to create out of convenience.
hmm
So
laziness.
so out of the laziness, right? You find what you said, the craziness out of the laziness, right? And even when you're talking about taking your time, being more mindful, or just being more thorough in whatever you're doing, you can even talk about food. When I was eating solids, if I were to cook, right, and not just, put in the microwave to radiate,
hmm
but actually appreciate this dish and really just bring out the flavor, it brought out everything, right? It
hmm
tasted a lot better when I took the time.
hmm
But when I was just, trying to make up for time or make up for convenience, there was a cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
For that convenience, there was a cost. Something was lost,
Yeah.
you know?
What do you see in everything that we actually go for because of convenience is it's like, look at the fast food restaurants. It was made out of convenience, right? So people wouldn't, cook the meal, and it takes longer to prepare a meal, right? So they came up with fast food. So the convenience of fast food, how is that benefiting human beings? How is it benefiting us? If we didn't have the fast food and people were actually eating like home cooked meals and something that was prepared from the earth and everything, I think our consciousness would be different because we become what we eat, right? So if everybody's eating something that's full of radiation or whatever meat it is on McDonald's, whatever that people are eating, that's the mentality we would have. That's how our consciousness will be, right? So instant have never been anything that benefit us. Convenient have never been anything that really benefit us. It just takes us backward. All these smartphones are making us dumb. All this convenient thing, this people are not walking. Like they created like a drive-through when people can just walk in. And people are just sitting with their stomach all the way up here and then just pushing the button to just go into a driveway because it's another convenient that was created. So every convenient, even if you think it's like benefiting you or it's convenient for you, is actually trapping you in a different way. It has a big cost, like a heart attacks and stuff. hmm
And I think you hit on something really important there, Nabiha. What you said, we rarely realize that cost
hmm
because, and this came from a book I read by Jeff Olson. The book was called The Slight Edge, and I recommend it to everybody. This is, I mean, it's definitely up there in my top 5 of all time.
mm
But in The Slight Edge, it talked about how because the consequences are not immediate, you know,
hmm
because the instant food doesn't result in instant death,
hmm
then we continue the cycle, you know.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
hmm
It was like, okay, if this greasy, big old burger, if you took a bite of this burger,
hmm
and you instantly die, how many people do you think would be in that drive-thru? You know,
Nobody.
not a
But
lot.
no.
You know,
But
but
I say that.
go ahead.
No, you go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
You finish
Go-
first. Go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish. Oh my God. I need to learn how to give people a chance to talk. You say something and I have a point and I'm interrupting. I need to be quiet.
See, I love it because you like Kanye. You know, Kanye be like, "Hey, I'm gonna let you finish." Right? I'm gonna let you finish. You know, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. No, I let you go because you know when you get that burst of inspiration, I don't want to stop you. I want to continue, you know, the conversation with your inspiration. So, go ahead, give us that vibration.
No, I need to learn how to give you a chance. I don't know what I was saying. Yes, I normally say to people, if let's say pharmaceuticals are drug. Okay, it says even drug. They don't hide anything. It's a drug. They give you cocaine, they give you heroin, they give you all of these, drugs that it's pharmaceutical. But they give you in a small dosages that you won't die immediately. They will give you different symptoms and another symptom and another symptom and another symptom. Every pill has another pill. So slowly death is legal. And instant death, you poison someone. And then, you can sue the company, you can do whatever. But that they kill you slowly, you can't. Because it's a choice that you're making every day. They already told you. You making the choice. So as long as you're making the choice towards your death, it's not illegal. It's legal. Yeah. So we are legally being poisoned. We are legally being everything, actually, if you think about it, everything in this society is slowly killing us. Everything in it. There's nothing like, even like if you go back in school and stuff, when have you ever taught about, when have they ever taught you, like, how to deal with your own emotions? That should be the first thing we should learn, knowing how to deal with yourself, you know. But nothing is designed for you to thrive. You're on your own.
So, so what was your greatest teacher when it came to your emotional intelligence? You know, learning, the
Mm.
knowledge that we are not taught in college. You know,
What I have learned, that it doesn't matter. Really, what I have learned is just that the only thing you can work on is you. And nobody can ever teach you how. It's a constant work that you just have to do within yourself, but it's nothing that can be taught. There is no book out there that will tell you, like, hey, this is how you should cope with your, but in a sense, like, if just someone just tell you, like, go and listen to yourself, just sit with yourself, right? That's enough. But whatever you're doing while you're sitting there, nobody can teach you. If someone can just guide you to the place to sit and say, like, okay, hey, maybe this will benefit you. So what I have learned is, like, I'm on my own at any time, all the time. And this whole life, like, everybody's on their own. We like to, think that, I don't know, but we are on our own. You think the government is on your side. You think that pharmaceuticals or these doctors is on your side. It's just a business. It's just, everything is a business here. So whether you become the product of the business or you just flow with the business, and there is a business and you can just make your way out. Or flow with it, learn how to live with it, because when you're aware of something, let's say like you are in this environment and it's like toxic environment, it's enough that you know about it. You don't have to be scared to be in it. You don't become, it's not contagious to you once you know of it. Does that make sense? So reality, if you realize it as something that is not benefiting you, and you need to find your own way out on everything, you have to speculate everything, you have to, like, know what's best for you, your best interest, then that way you're aware in a chaos. You can't stop the chaos, but you can be aware in it. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain
it
it.
makes sense. It makes sense. So, what I'm hearing is like, even if you're in a business,
Hmm.
you can still be about your business.
Hmm. Hmm. You can. Don't mix, you know, how some people are like, oh, this is the matrix. I don't want to be in the matrix. I don't want to be doing this. And you're neglecting something. Life is not about neglecting one and choosing one. It's all about that balance, you know, of finding the balance. So once you figure out, oh my God, I live in this matrix, and the matrix is, by the way, in your head. But once you find that out, it's just wiser to know how to maneuver in it instead of neglecting it because it's part of you and you in it. You know, so you can't go eat this way and say like, oh, you know what, this is the matrix. I don't want to be dealing with it. I'm going to do everything that's the opposite. But no, you have to know that, okay, this is an illusion. I'm participating in it. You know, as long as you're aware of it, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's nothing wrong with it. But if you try to get rid of it, then you're making yourself tired.
So it drains your energy when you're trying to
Hmm.
be in
Yeah,
opposition.
it's like saying like, I want to save people. No, save yourself. You can't save people. Do you understand that? You can't save people unless you save yourself. There is no way. Just like when you're on the plane and so it's crashing down, you know, you need to put your own mask first before you try to help people around you. But if you don't put your own mask, you faint. Who are you going to help? It's the same thing with the world. If you want to help the world, you need to help yourself. And we were taught to be heroes and firefighters and police officers and this and that because we were targeted to help outside all the time. You're going to be a hero. You're going to help people from the fires. You know, things like that is what boys are taught when they were little, you know. But nobody tells you, like, save yourself, you know, because this world is not made for you. My dad actually told me. He told me this world is not for you. So you better be careful. Because I was this overly empath, if that's the thing, you know, if you can be that. I used to be in, oh, still am. Yeah.
You mean to say that you feel too much? Is that
Mm-hmm.
what you mean to say?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You think
I
you
feel
feel
too
too
much.
much?
I do.
Why,
Sometimes
why
it's
do
so
you,
overwhelming.
what makes you think you feel too much?
I know I feel too much because I can drown in my emotions sometimes, but it has nothing to do with me. It's mostly like towards others. When I was a kid, if I saw someone cry, all the time that when you see me cry, that's because I saw someone else cry. If you saw me cry, it was because somebody else was sad. So it's like I feel more people and even movies and whatever like little emotions, like I choke on my own, you know, and I don't want that. Really, yeah. I don't want that. It's overwhelming. Yeah.
And yet it sounds like you found ways to adapt.
Mhm. Not really. Not really.
No?
I just avoid sometimes, you know.
You
No, I
avoid. You
still
don't adapt. You avoid?
I'm still learning to cope with that. Really, I was, you know, I used to say like, "Oh, I wish I just didn't have any feelings right now." You know, sometimes when I want to be mad at somebody. Um, but it's something that genetically, it's kind of like a code within me, you know, that I feel too much. That's just part of me. I've been like that since I was a little. It's not something that I have learned, right? So to cope with that, I can't make it disappear, but I can work with it by understanding human beings, you know, and knowing like, okay, it's fine to be emotional. It's fine to be, you know, feeling for others, and just to put myself in the right environment. Actually, I can't avoid it, and I don't think I should, but I should just learn how to balance it. Yeah.
Because to wish away your feelings, to say like, oh, I wish I didn't have feelings. What who would you be without feelings?
No, at that moment, you know, I wanted to be angry at the person and not feel for them or anything, you know. So there are moments that I want to just be angry and I couldn't because I was sympathizing with the person and this and this and that. And those are the things that I used to like feel like, oh my God, can I just be, not having those emotions for just once and not feeling those emotions just for once. So I used to wish that. Same thing with the food. Like I wish we never needed any food because just didn't get it. I just don't understand it. And the burden of that we think that we need was the one that used to bother me and nothing else. It's like, okay, if you don't do it, then you're gonna die. Something's gonna happen to you, something. But then, yeah, I used to wish that away. I used to wish food away until I manifested you guys. Like a lot of people that are actually avoiding food. I'm like, oh my God, I'll find my world. And confirmation of that food ain't it. It's just a learned habit. And I mean, my cousin and I actually talks about it a lot because I feel like both of us are kind of like a unicorn when it comes to that. Because we can hang together for days and not have food, not ever, ever even mention it. I mean, like days and weeks. Okay, not even mention. Maybe we would drink here and there, but the fact that people actually think about food, Sissy and I talk about it, and she's like, "What's wrong with us? I can't imagine food." Like sometimes we do this game, like I'm like, Sissy, can you make like this delicious burger in your head? And she was just laughing because I can't create a picture. There's nothing delicious about a burger. So how can I put these things together? So it's like it's a learned habit, but it's a curse on humanity, I think, when it comes to food. Because we shouldn't constantly think about food. We shouldn't constantly think about, what we're going to eat and what we're going to have and this. That's a disease. It's an addiction.
So one more time, just so I understand clearly, when it came to your emotions, because I feel like I'm learning a lot from this as well. If there were times when you felt that your emotions and your feelings were a curse, when do you feel like they're a blessing?
I think they're always a blessing. You know, you're talking about my feelings and how I feel and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they're always a blessing. It's just like they just happen in the wrong time and stuff. Sometimes like when I'm not prepared or something like that. But other than that, I think, feeling compassion towards everything around you, it's a natural way we should all be, you know. We should all feel the way whatever I'm avoiding, I think everybody should feel that. But since I feel like I'm the only one because I'm just aware of my own consciousness, and when I feel things, I feel like I don't want to be crying in front of people sometimes. I don't want to be crying in front of cameras. And it's like, oh, I just want it to stop. But it's nothing wrong with it, with emotions itself. Having that, no, it's nothing wrong with it. I think they're always valid.
And seeing the validity, seeing that they always are valid and they always have value, you know,
Hmm.
what would make you feel that vulnerability would be a weakness, or to be able to, like you said, cry on camera? Why?
Society.
Go ahead.
Society. It's just the rules that we made. Someone said, yeah, I will save this life. I always save the lives. So um, I think it's society. People judging, right? And people noticing, people asking, like, are you okay? If you cry or something, people will ask, are you okay? Maybe they would judge you like, oh, that person is just like, they don't have any control over their emotions. This. It's just so much judgments around it, and it's not fun. So kind of like attached to those things. Um, but it shouldn't be, it's nothing valid. It's just society thing.
So are you saying in those moments, where some people might feel guilty or might feel shame or even get into the blame game of, oh, I can't cry on camera, I can't be emotional, I can't be vulnerable in front of others because their judgment of me says more than my judgment of myself. Is that what it is?
Pretty much. Pretty much, we think about other people's judgment. They may not even judge that way, At the end of the day, it's your own judgment. Even if you think somebody else will judge you, you think that way. You creating that feeling already within yourself. Before the person even attacks you, you are creating those feelings. So it's kind of like something within that needs to be worked with, you know? I need to work with that. Like when I'm in the movie theater, I make sure I stay away from everybody. I'm sitting on my own corner because I will definitely cry. I just know. So, yeah, it's just a judgment, but I think it's just something within myself that I need to work with when it comes to that.
And what is it that you feel that you would need to work within yourself, and what would that look like?
Say it again.
What would that look like that you feel you need to work within yourself? What does that look like?
Oh, it. I love actually when I find those little triggers where I know I need to work with myself. Like if I meet a individual out there and they have a certain personality, and if I like get indulged in that personality, and it's nothing that is actually my vibe, for example, I know it's something I need to work within myself, and so that's how I find out the things that I need to work with because I reflect everything, right? So it's just another thing on my list that I need to work on, to be honest. Yeah. We all have something to work on all the time.
And you find value in that, in being able.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find value in that because otherwise, how would I figure out? How would I figure out? Like, I don't follow books and stuff, on how to heal yourself and this and that. This whole planet is full of traps that will remind you how to heal yourself. So you just walk in it, you know? So I see my reflections. Everything I reflect is just part of me. Everything I reflect is just something from within me, right? So walking through this life, that's my lesson, my everyday lessons. That's why I need to be more alert in it. Because right now it's just more like technology and phones and stuff. Yeah. Goddess had a question.
Oh, go ahead and answer.
How is dating, living pranic lifestyle? Are you able to date non-pranic beyond? Would you like to answer that? Because I have yeah, I'll think about it a little bit and then you can answer.
Uh, how is it
To date,
being
and
to
if you
date?
non-pranic being, to date non-pranic being. That's what she's asking. Like, is it possible? Would you date someone that is not, on the same path as you? And
Yeah, I associate, with everyone. But when it comes to me wanting to be with a person, there definitely has to be a connection, you
I
know.
see.
It has to be a connection, and it's organic,
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing forced. That's probably one of the reasons why I've never been on like dating apps. I've never been on things like, the Tinders and the Bumbles and the swipe left and swipe right stuff. I enjoy meeting people in the physical,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoy meeting people that I feel I can learn from, you know, that I feel can teach me something. So, a lot of my relationships have evolved. So I don't really see myself in a relationship. If I were to be in a relationship with someone that I can't relate in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if we're totally unrelatable, it's not really debatable, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you mean. It can't even go that way because I believe all your relationships are based on your mindset. Just like I said, you attract whatever you are from within. You will definitely attract. Like, there's no way I will attract a male that's standing there with barbecue. You know, like it just doesn't reflect my energy. So I will pass that, and it wouldn't be anything that's, you know, attractive to me because of it's not my mindset. It's not where I am at. So automatically, I think you just match your frequency from within. So not anything judgments, you know. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not like picking and choosing and like, oh, you have to be on a chronic journey and that's not what I'm doing. But it's just that it says a lot about me who I choose. Yeah, that's how
I
I see it.
agree. I agree. You know, one of the one of the you know, sometimes we go back. Hey, take care, take care. All right. Sometimes we that was Ella. Sometimes we go back in memory lane, and I chuckle because one of the relationships that I've had that blew my mind, that I never could have imagined, came out of a place of self-love. You
Hmm.
know, I was loving myself so much. I had literally gotten to the point in my life where I'd let go. Oh, you got to go somewhere?
No, no. I'm just looking I'm sitting in the car in the middle of nowhere, so don't worry
Okay,
about that.
okay. Well, I know our time's up. We're wrapping up here. I
Don't
know.
worry about it. I'm not working anymore. Yeah, go ahead. So what did you realize in that relationship?
I had totally let go of all relationships. I
Mm,
was ready to be celibate forever. I wasn't looking for anybody. You
mm,
know, I had become so in love with myself, so in love with my health, my mind, and just taking so much time to really find and unwind and really unravel who I had become.
mm-hmm,
You know, that I wasn't looking for anyone. And then someone came along, you know,
mm,
and it was like in that moment of my own self-discovery, or my own, I should say, self-acceptance, you know. So I think that sometimes you can attract what you would never expect when you are brave enough to really connect, you
mm.
know, to yourself. Yeah.
Did you feel like that relationship reflected you, or you know, in your state? That's
It brought me to another level. You know, it
life is
elevated me.
always constant learning. Trust
It
me, it is.
elevated me in
Yeah,
so many ways. So
but
yeah.
that's the trigger. You know, when people get into the spirituality and they think like, you know, oh, I can be celibate, I can be this, I can be that, I can be on my own, I don't want to be dealing with a relationship, I want to go to a cave. I think, I feel like that's the weakness of people. I think it's the biggest weakness in when it comes to the spirituality, to avoid things instead of working with things, right? So when it comes to relationship, like I think I wrote a post about it not long ago. We have a relationship with everything. If you avoid one relationship, you don't have no relationship with yourself. You really don't. You don't know what kind of relationship with you have with yourself, because if you wouldn't be avoiding other relationships, you would know how to master them, because of you are in charge of yourself, and your feelings and your emotions and everything is intact. So then that way you wouldn't avoid no relationships. Everything is a relationship. Like I said, even your breath is a relation has a relationship with your body. You know, it depends on the relationship you have with your body, right? So it's not about avoiding, but maybe, you know, the reason why you met exactly that, even though you were in your like, oh my god, I love myself, I can just be by myself, and then you went into that trap of like, you know, getting somebody or getting with somebody, right? That's the insecurity within yourself that's avoiding relationships that took you there.
So have you ever been in situations or circumstances where you didn't know how to say no?
All the time.
So you've been in situations where you kept somehow saying yes to all these things, that even some things that you kept saying yes to that weren't really for your best interest, or weren't really for your best usage of your energy.
Hmm.
And if you've ever finally gotten to a point where you could say no,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
you established boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
would you say that that is a level of mastery to be able to say no
It
without
is.
saying yes? Is that mastery?
Yes.
Oh,
That you master that relationship within yourself. Now you know how you want to be treated. It is just
okay.
yourself, you know. So if you say, if somebody is just like, if you people pleaser all the time, you say yes, 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 you know. But then you will know some traits about yourself, like, oh my God, I'm just pleasing these people, but everything that you're doing is actually hurting yourself. But the reason why you're people pleasing is because you don't have a relationship with yourself. You don't know yourself, you know. So the more you value yourself, the more you put your foot down and say, like, no, you know, this is, I have something better to do right now than hanging with you out there, you know. It's just like, you know, I value myself to sit here than to be on there. For example, you pick and choose different situations, but that's because of you choose you.
And is choosing yourself a weakness?
No, that's just where you learn how to love yourself. Instead of saying like, oh, I love myself, blah blah blah, say like you choose yourself, because it's more effective. You know, loving yourself, like the word, oh, I love myself, people cannot even put it into, and then they still hurt themselves, you know. But if you just respect yourself, you know, and value yourself, that will create the love. So stop saying like, oh, I love myself and this. Just respect yourself. You know, you're worth of that respect. So if you really want respect from anybody or anything around you, start with yourself. And it will just radiate on the outside, you know. So when you say no to something, that's respecting yourself. When you prioritize your time on choosing something that benefits you, that's choosing yourself. So choosing yourself is loving yourself.
Wow. Wow. I couldn't have said it better. You know, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Loving yourself is choosing yourself. That's one of the, I love when you said that the first time, and I love when you said it now. You know, we've come full circle. I think we've done almost like 20 of these lives together, and every conversation, you know, I feel like it's just a wonderful expansion, you know. So thank you just for connecting. Thank you for always reflecting. And I know that this might be the last time in a little while that we see you again, but,
Yeah,
you know, but it's for the best, you know,
it is.
definitely. So thank you.
Hope
Thank you for
everybody
all that
else,
you've given.
yeah, just choose yourself too and just, you know, breathe. Just let's see what Goddess just said, because I know Goddess had a lot of questions for you today, for you know, and she wrote earlier and then we went off. So I don't know. What does a day
Okay. Well,
in the
I
life?
do have to go now,
Yeah, I
but
see that.
you can stay on if you like, you know, and continue to answer
N-
questions.
No, it's not
But
answers
yeah.
for me. It's not questions for me. It was for you. So she's late. That's fine.
Okay.
That's
Well,
fine. But thank you, everyone, and you have a beautiful day,
blessings.
Joan. All right.
Take care.